All right, all right. We are live. Seeing people starting to join. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another live session here at the Public Speaking Club, the Expression Lab, wherever you're joining from. You're welcomed. We're going to take a couple of minutes up until everybody's going to join. Thank you for the two people who came early. Appreciate you guys a lot. Okay, I'm seeing more people joining up. So, hello, folks, wherever you guys are coming from, the Public Speaking Club, the Expression Lab, or just YouTube. It's good to have you. Thank you guys for coming early. We're going to wait a couple of minutes for everybody to join, and then we're going to kick things off. Okay. We're going to wait for a couple of more minutes for people to join. If there's somebody here, if you can put in the comments, because okay. Hello, everybody who just joined. We're going to kick things off in a couple of minutes. Feel free to already put in the comments where you're joining us from today. Okay. If you're joining us right now, as I said, we're going to wait for a couple more minutes for people to join. We have an amazing session today about confidence under pressure, which I'm very excited to share with you today. Okay, we're going to wait for about a minute or two before we're going to kick things off. As I said, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to kick things off in literally a couple of minutes. We're going to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is communication under pressure. It's probably one of the biggest communication challenges out there. And today, together, we're going to break down why so many people are feeling anxious and afraid when they're doing public speaking or interviews. So, I'm going to show you some of the science behind it. And of course, practical neuroscience backed ways to overcome this fear. So, an amazing session coming up. Thank you guys so much for joining. As I said, if you're here, you can leave in the chat where you're joining us from today. And maybe from 1 to 10, how anxious or stressed do you feel when you're going on stage or going on an interview or having a communication event? How afraid you are on a scale of 1 to 10? Feel free to chat. Send right now in the chat. And also, if you guys are seeing this as a recording, thank you also for watching. We're going to make those live sessions every single week on Tuesday to keep bringing value, bringing high quality knowledge about communication to the world. So every single Tuesday. And as I said, this is also going to go on to my YouTube channel. So if you're seeing this as a recording, we're happy to have you as well. Okay, so on that note, I think we're ready to start. So, as I said, thank you guys so much for joining us today. We are going to talk about one of my favorite topics. And before that, let me take you a little back. A couple of years ago, in the year of 2024, I started to do public speaking in a more professional way. And I was meeting one of the directors in Google, and he was asking me, why are people coming to learn public speaking and communication? What is the biggest driver that they're coming with? And when I was reflecting on it, I told him that I think the biggest issue people are facing, especially business professionals, is not that they don't have the knowledge, is the fact that they can't access their knowledge, their ideas, their thoughts when it actually matters. When they're going on stage, doing a presentation, an interview, a client call, or even during the day when you guys are talking to your partner or your friends, sometimes we're having a problem, an issue, a challenge to access some of the information and knowledge that we have. And the reason for it, the main one, is that most people are feeling anxious, stressed about communication. And I think one of the biggest enemies that we're facing these days is avoidance. We're trying to suppress our feelings, to push them away, instead of just holding them, looking at them, and understand where they're coming from and confronting them. I'm not saying it's an easy process, but the answer to so many of our life's challenges can be solved by just observing our problems and confronting them. And with communication, anxiety, fear, stress, whatever you want to call it, confronting this fear, understanding where it's coming from, is the best, most effective way to move forward. Because if you've been with us for more than a day, you know that I'm preaching a lot about the importance of communication in the AI era. Now that the machine can do so many of the technical tasks we used to do, so anything from coding to writing emails, editing videos, etc., now the AI can do for us. However, there's some specific skills that are going to differentiate human beings moving forward, and communication is probably the biggest one. People that will be able to create trust, create connection with people, they're going to be the one that are going to separate themselves from the rest moving forward. So the importance of mastering communication is huge. And as I said, overcoming the fear is one of the biggest, most important challenges to face in this road. Before we dive in, a quick introduction. If we haven't met before, my name is Ty Miller. I am the CEO and founder of the Public Speaking Club and the Expression Lab. I've been coaching communication in the space of public speaking, interviews, etc., for a couple of years now, working with hundreds of the best professionals on the planet, working for the best organizations like Google, Salesforce, TikTok, Pinterest, and TEDx. And I'm here with you today to share some of the knowledge and experience that I gained over the years, so you would be able to also close the gap. I call it the expression gap between what you want to say, your thoughts, your ideas, to what you're actually saying, to show who you really are, especially in high stress situations. So, without further ado, what we're going to do today, we're going to do three main things. One is we're going to understand why we have communication fear in the first place, right? Write down in the chat, how do you guys feel? Imagine yourself standing on stage. There's 100 people in front of you. How do you feel in this moment? Right? Write down here in the chat. How do you feel being on stage, 100 people in front of you? What are the feelings that you are feeling in your body in this moment? Write down in the chat. But working with so many professionals over the years, the answers I'm usually getting is fear, anxiety, stress, cloudiness. There's so many of them. Press to impress. Yeah, there's this urge to show yourself, be good, right? It's often translating into thoughts, do this, right? A lot of those things. Cloudiness, there's so many thoughts that are coming with this feeling. And a lot of people that I'm talking to, their level of stress can sometimes resemble almost a life-threatening situations. People almost have this almost a fear of dying. Right, Seinfeld had this quote that people are more afraid to be on stage than to die, so they would better be in the coffin rather to read the speech. But yeah, often we are feeling such an intense level of stress when we are in those situations, often something close to a life threatening situations. And I want to start today by telling you why this is the case. So in order to do that, we have to go back a couple of millions of years back. And I want you to think about our ancestor that used to live in caves, in tribes. In these times, being rejected from the tribe meant a serious life threat. Because if you're away from the tribe and you have to hunt for yourself, gather for yourself, light a fire, gather food, there's a high risk for your life. But when you're in the tribe, there's your likelihood of survival is going higher. I'm saying this because most people don't understand that your brain doesn't know that this is 2026. Our brain is still wired in the same way our ancestor is in the cave is wired. So your brain is basically telling you you have to keep yourself safe. This one is an important one. Your brain is there to keep you safe, not successful. And in order to keep you safe, your brain is trying to avoid criticism and rejection at all costs. It means that when you're going on stage and there's 100 people in front of you, there's a very high risk of rejection or criticism. So your brain goes into defense mode. It tells you, buddy, let's stay away from this situation and go into a place where we're going to be comfortable and safe again. So this defense mechanism is actually literally trying to keep you alive because it doesn't want you to be rejected. But the downside is there is no life threat, right? When you're going onto a job interview, you're going to do a presentation, there is no life threat. And it doesn't matter how much you're going to rationalize this thought in your head, up until your nervous system is going to feel safe, nothing will change. And this leads me to the second part. So we understand why we feel this sensation, but how do we actually approach it? Let's understand what does it really mean. So I want to show you something. It's called the window of tolerance. You may have heard about this before. It's basically a psychological model that is telling you how is your nervous system reacting to different situations. So our optimal place to be is here in the middle, in this green area. It's called the window of tolerance. When your nervous system is in this green zone, it means that it's regulated. It means that you can communicate, you can think, you can access information fully. However, often when this nervous system is being stimulated, we go into what we know as fight or flight mode. Or even worse, we go into freeze. It means that our nervous system is flooded. And then we can go into one of two situations. One is hyperarousal. It means that our brain is too activated, it's in fight or flight mode. It means then that our brain is going to be cloudy. It means that our body might shake. We're going into overactivation. Or we might go into hyperarousal, means shutting down. The body goes into overwhelming phase where you might not be able to even speak or I'm sharing this with you because understanding the window of tolerance is one of our first steps in order to overcome this challenge. Because our goal would be to keep our nervous system inside this window of tolerance at all times during the communication event. So, how do we do this? Last time that we were meeting here last Tuesday, sorry, I showcased you something called the expression gap. It's one of our latest theories that is explaining the gap between what you want to say and what you're actually saying. And in essence, between these two entities, there is two components. One is the delivery. It means your body language, your tonality, your narratives. So the communication skills that are carrying your messages. But more importantly, and this is the foundation to bridging this gap, is your mental state. So if you want to communicate effectively, you have to control your mental state. And I also showed you last week that a lot of people are doing this process wrong. For example, you might approach a communication event, an interview, or presentation. You're going to feel the feelings that are coming with this. So, as we said, might be stress, might be anxiety. So, a lot of different feelings. And instead of confronting those emotions, people are just used to suppress them. So, they're going to go on social media, go on their phone. They might smoke a cigarette, they might drink an alcohol, or do whatever comes to mind in order to not feel those feelings. But by avoiding the feelings, you are harming yourself because suppressing those emotions basically shrinks your window of tolerance. Let me repeat this one more time. By avoiding those feelings of stress, you are shrinking your window of tolerance. And it means that every little event or every unexpected event during the presentation or meeting will throw you off completely out of the window of tolerance and make you overwhelmed, stressed, ineffective. So our goal is to build a process where we increase the window of tolerance. How do we do that? First step. The first step in order to do that happens way before you even get to the presentation. And it starts with processing. Processing, nurturing or resourcing. Nurture resourcing is basically the process where you are supporting your nervous system before the event. Here are a couple of ways to do it. One is voice activation or voice warm up. Some people think this is only being reserved for singers, but I found out that it has two effects. One, when you do voice warm up, I can teach you an exercise in a second, you are clearing your vocal cords. So here's an easy one to do. You can even do it right now with me. So you can close your mouth and do the sound of but with your mouth closed. So it sounds something like Do this for about a minute or two. This will achieve two things. One, as I said, will clear your vocal cords. But second, it was research, it was found that when you do vocal warm-ups, you're activating something called the vagus nerve. It's basically a big nerve that you have here behind your neck. And this nerve is in charge of regulating your nervous system, basically making you feel more calm. So when you do voice warm-up, voice activation, you're activating this nerve, makes you more calm and relaxed. So voice warm-up is a great way to resource yourself. Second way is breath work. So if you know me personally, you know that I'm a certified breathwork instructor, and I've been doing breathwork for years now. And in the context of communication, breathwork is a huge tool to use in order to regulate your nervous system. So let's do one exercise together so you can feel it for yourself. So I'm inviting you to close your eyes or gaze down, whatever feels best. And I want you to inhale through the nose on the count of 4, hold your breath to the count of 7, and exhale to the count of 8. Let's do 2 rounds together. And I want you to feel already in your body, how does this feel? So let's do it together. Inhale through the nose. 2, 3, 4, and hold your breath. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And one more time. Inhale. 2, 3, 4, and hold your breath for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And if you were doing this with me, you can probably already tell on your body how much more calm it is. So what I'm inviting you to do every time you have a communication event, take a couple of minutes. It doesn't take more than 3 to 5 minutes to just breathe in through the nose, out through the mouth. You can make sound, a sigh when you exhale. As I said, it will activate the vagus nerve and it will give you this amazing sensation of calmness. So, voice activation or warm up, breath work is two amazing ways to do that. Third way is to just to talk to somebody. So you might be in a room or maybe pick up the phone and call somebody and just speak. And this process of speaking out loud with somebody already brings you to what we call in the nervous system space social engagement. So it's the lowest level of nervous system regulation. So you have freeze, you have fight or flight, and on the bottom you have social engagement. So just by talking to people, you already regulate your system. You basically give the system the signal we are safe. This one is important because we work with signals with nervous system. You want to signal the system, hello, we're safe right now. There's no reason to be afraid so much. So one of the ways is to make social engagement. And last way I also want to advise is to do some physical movement. So if you ever saw Tony Robbins, for example, preparing for a big conference, he's jumping on his trampoline, right? The reason he is doing this is because when you are stressed, your body is releasing a hormone called cortisol. And cortisol, when it's being going around your body, it creates stress. And often, what is happening to a lot of people is that their body can't process the cortisol. So, what's happening is that the cortisol is getting stuck in certain areas. This is why often our hands are shaking, or our voice is cracking, or maybe your knee is shaking. For me, for many years, my knees used to shake. And this is happening because the cortisol is being stuck. And the solution for that is just to move. When you're spreading the cortisol across your body, the level of stress is going down and the levels of shaking potentially also goes down. So you can jump up and down, you can shake your arms, shake your legs, shake your face, just shake it all around to flush the cortisol across your body. It will already give you a more calm, grounded feeling. So those things are happening before the event. Super important. And I would also suggest on a daily basis, I'm doing breathwork every single day to regulate your system, not just for an event. This is an everyday thing. So all of these strategies are applicable for everything you do. Now let's talk about the actual event. You're going on an interview, you're going on stage, and you start to feel those emotions coming. Usually, with a lot of my clients, they tell me that they just have to go for the first couple of minutes and then they calm down, right? Because the body, as I said, is getting the signal that everything is okay. But often the first couple of minutes, they're really hard. So, how do we handle that? So, first way I want to talk about is to enter with an exhale. So let me give you a quick example. Imagine you're going on stage, there is a microphone just like the one I have here. A lot of people, what they do at the beginning sounds something like this. Hello, everybody. My name is Ty, and what we're gonna do today, we are going to talk about. Come on, we can do better than this. So instead of this rushing around, what I want you to do is to walk towards the microphone. It can be the same in an interview, by the way. So you might be introduced to a question. Instead of jumping in, I want you to take a second and first exhale. Take a second and only then jump in. It sounds like a small detail, but just by the fact that you're taking a second to fully exhale, take a second of pause, you're going to do two things. One, you're going to regulate your system because you're going to, again, give this positive signal that is safe and calm. Second, it creates so much communication impact to have a second of pause. It will make people lean in and want to listen to you more. So take a second to breathe. And also during the session, make sure that you're breathing. Okay. When we are stressed, we have the tendency to have shallow breath. So it looks something like, as we know, breathing is not a conscious process if you're not thinking about it. So we have to be conscious of our breathing. So For example, when you are hearing a question from the interviewer or between different sentences, take a second to inhale for the nose, exhale for the mouth. It takes a second, but it will already regulate your system. So breathing is key. Second is to hydrate. For example, I have a bottle of water here. You might have a glass. Make sure that you're hydrating yourself. It doesn't have to be, a big event. All you need to do is take a quick pause, get some water into the system, and move on. It doesn't have to be a big deal. But keeping your system hydrated is good for your vocal cords and it will keep you calm and collected. So, as I said, breath work, keeping yourself hydrated, and lastly, is something I call counter movement. So, if you're already on stage, a meeting, whatever, and you feel the shaking, again, it can be in your hands, it can be in your legs. What I want you to do is something we call counter movement. So, say my hands are shaking. I'm talking on stage, I feel my hands are shaking. Again, it was scientifically proven that by doing a counter movement that contradicts the shaking, you're already creating a positive signal for your body. So if your hands are shaking, all you need to do is put them together and squeeze gently. It doesn't have to be something big. You just take them, quick squeeze, and this already goes as a positive signal down your nervous system that tells the system, hello, we're safe, we're okay. If your knees are shaking, I would shift my weight into one knee and press gently. So, counter movement is a fantastic method to also counter areas of pressure in your body. So, just to recap, we have breathing, hydration, and counter movement when you're in the moment. Step number 3, what is happening after the event? This is also key, and most people are missing this. After every communication event that is meaningful, and especially the one that are more stressful, what I'm inviting you to do is take time to process. So, the processing mechanism is what helps your body get the positive reinforcement that it needs to increase the window of tolerance and also set your baseline lower for the next time. So, for example, you had a public speaking, you had an interview, you had a meeting with a big client that was stressful. The moment the meeting is over, I'm inviting you to do one of those things. One is to take a piece of paper. It can also be on the computer, but I think handwriting is always best. And simply journal. What was the feeling you were feeling? I felt stressed. I felt anxious. I felt good. I felt my whatever you were feeling, just put it in writing. The process of processing will help you first get back to your body and regulate. Two, it will help you be in touch with your feelings and sensations. So when the next time will occur, you are not going to dismiss the feelings. You are going to see them and process them in advance. This is the amazing thing that our body can do. When the body sees patterns and getting signals, it adapts automatically. So if you're giving the body the positive reinforcement that says public speaking is not life-threatening situations, the body's picking up the signal deeper and deeper every time you're doing so. So the next time it's going to be stressed a little less, and then a little less, and then a little less. So trust the wisdom of your body to know how to regulate itself automatically over time. So one is journaling. I think another great way is also to have a conversation about it. So if this is a work environment, maybe go to your boss and ask him or her, hey, would you mind to give me a little bit of feedback or just share what you observed over there? And just by this process of processing with somebody else in a conversation, as I said, you're moving into social engagement, you're getting feedback potentially, which is also important, and you also process. So this is another great way. And as I said, it can be on your own, it can be with somebody else, but doing processing after the event is key to regulate your nervous system. And then one last part that is always worth mentioning is that all of the things we're talking about right now in this video, they're theoretical, right? So I can give you a lot of those ideas, But up until the moment you're going to be on stage, in the interview room, with the client, talking to your partner, going on a date, whatever the communication event would be, up until you're going to feel those feelings for yourself, nothing is going to change. And we are having those sessions on Tuesdays because I think it's super important to educate ourselves about communication, having the knowledge. But the real transformation is happening when we are doing, applying, and then over time developing the identity around communication. So, what I'm inviting you to do is not just to keep this information as knowledge. This knowledge has to be applied. So, what I'm inviting you to do, I'm sending you here in the chat. We have a school community called the Expression Lab. This community is absolutely for free. And in this community, we are meeting every single week to educate ourselves about communication. And if you're interested and you're already in the Expression Lab, we have our second community called the Public Speaking Club. The Public Speaking Club is an international community of professionals that meet every single week on Wednesday to practice those things together. So, as I said, the Expression Lab is a completely free community, meets every single week on Tuesday to learn and educate and get knowledge. But if you want to take it to the next level and actually take this knowledge and apply it, I'm inviting you to first join the school, but then have the opportunity to maybe book a call with me or one of my team members to talk about how you can be joining the Public Speaking Club. And as I said, this is your space, your safe space to practice all of this knowledge in an environment that will provide you the opportunity to regulate your system. Because let's be honest, we don't want to make mistakes when we're on stage at work. We don't want to make mistakes when we're having a job interview. It's better to do all of the mistakes and learning and thoughts in a controlled environment. And this is exactly what we are offering professionals, this controlled environment where they can practice and grow together. And if that's not enough, we also developed state of the art technology, AI based, to support your journey. So if it's something you're interested, let me also send my calendar so you can book a meeting with me free of cost. We can talk for 20, 30 minutes. And if it's something that is interests you, I would be more than happy to get to know you and share all of the details about our community. And by the way, some exciting news. If you guys are in Dublin, very soon we're going to launch our first in person community in Dublin. This is happening next week. So, all of this and more can be found over here. Feel free to reach out, set up a meeting with me. Um, I promise to give answers and information to everybody that will be interested. Because, as I said many times before, and I would always say it again, I made it my life mission to help as many people as possible to close the gap between what they want to say and what they actually say. This transformation to show who you really are when it matters. So I would be more than happy to support each and every one of you in our community. As I said, we got the Expression Lab, a free community to get the knowledge, and we got the Public Speaking Club, a place to practice and grow together. And with that being said, we're going to end our session today. I want to thank you so much for taking the time and putting the effort and energy in showing up in today's session. It means the world. And if you have any type of questions, thoughts, feel free to put it right now in the chat. I'm going to stay for a little bit more if somebody have a specific question that is coming to mind. But if not, I appreciate you. I thank you. I love you guys a lot. And keep communicating, huh? Keep on practicing, putting the work. There's one quote that I really love that says, communication works for those who works at it. Communication works for those who works at it. So keep working, keep grinding, keep practicing, keep showing up, and I promise you the result we're going to be there. With that being said, folks, have a fantastic day or fantastic night, depends on where you are, and I'm going to see you all next week. Bye bye.